You're a magnet to good things. But when you are depressed, down and out, you speak words of doubt, fear, and unbelief, then you create another force around you. And that force attracts the negative things to you. So, getting away from just talking about matter and things, we actually do produce energy of faith, an actual energy of faith that draws the things to us that we speak.
Yeah, the scripture talks about that the blessings of God will overtake you. And that's in the Old Testament, saying the blessings of the law.
Mm-hmm.
We're redeemed from the curse, but we're not
That's
redeemed
right.
from the blessing.
Thank God.
And a humorous story, but it's a true story. You've heard me tell it, but I want to tell it again myself. But anyway, a friend was with me fishing one time, and he kept saying, there's not any fish in here. He said, there's not any fish on this side of the lake. We were fishing the lake. He's fishing one side, and I was fishing the other. We were wading water. It was a shallow lake. And so all the way down there to the fishing deal, he was telling me that I know you're going to catch a lot of fish, but I never catch any fish. I just never can catch fish. Well, I finally said to him, let's trade sides of the lake. So he started walking over to my side, and I started walking over to his side. A bass came out of the water that looked like he weighed 5 or 6 pounds and started and jumped about 6 or 8 feet to the side of the lake I was going to. And he said, now they're all going to your side of the lake. And I just held it long as I could. I said, I don't blame them. I wouldn't stay over there with all that unbelief either. I'd go where there's some positive things being released.
That's
and
right.
I just stopped and taught him a little bit on the power of words. I said, one of your problems is your mouth. You're speaking doubt, fear, and unbelief, and it creates it. It causes him to do things to cause it to happen. But it does. Faith creates an aura around you, and it'll draw the blessing of God, and the curses will run off of you like water off a duck's back.
That's right. Absolutely right. A humorous story with the fish, but this is how it works. This is how faith works. I went to the lake one day with some friends, and they were all on the boat, pontoon boat, and they were eating, and I got my fishing pole, and I started fishing off the side, and I started saying, here, fishy, 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 here, fishy, fishy. And they were all looking at me like I was nuts and said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm calling the fish. And they said, what do you mean? They can't hear you. I said, oh, yes, but they do. And I threw out there again, and I caught a fish. And they said, well, that's interesting. I threw out, and I caught another fish. I kept calling them and kept catching them. Pretty soon, everybody on the boat had a fishing pole going, here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Well, what they didn't realize is that I believed it.
Yeah.
You brought me up to believe I could catch fish. And that is on the inside of me. I believe it. I know it. I can catch it. And so as a result, that comes to me, and it happens. But it comes to you in many different ways. If you believe you're going to be successful and prosperous in life, then it's like fishing. You're throwing it out there whether you realize it or not, by the words you speak, by what you believe, what you say. If you believe that you're going to live in health, then you're throwing it out there with your words, with your beliefs, and what you're saying. It works. It works. Even if you don't believe it works, it works.
It's interesting when we talk about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that the placebo effect, I was reading an article from the Mayo Clinic, and it talked about the placebo effect. And, any new medicine that's approved by the FDA has to be compared to placebo. And the placebo works in the power of belief. There's no ability in that sugar or flour that they put in that to heal anyone. But even if they will use the right color that people like, it will help, and it will actually do wonders for some people and in just a few hours, which no medicine could work that quick. And they say that if you take them off of it, then they have withdrawal symptoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what it is the power of belief.
Yes.
And it supersedes all of our natural thinking.
That's right.
And that's why that so many people get confused about it, because we're talking about two different realms. You're talking about a law of God that works because of what His Word said. And the fact that these You said that it exists in a cloud until
A
someone
cloud-
goes to observe
yes,
it.
a cloud of possibilities.
Then it's just possibilities. Well, now think about this. Jesus said, "Seek and you shall find." So when they sought that thing, they found it. It appeared. And what we're talking about is a law of God that is calling things that are not, as though they were. Now listen to this verse in 1 Corinthians, the first chapter, verse 27, 28. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. God has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. And base things of the world and things which are despised has God chosen, yea, now listen to this, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. Things you can't see, couldn't see, and that's what the Scriptures, it said bring to naught things that were. God